Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, back with another video.
Let's start with this. I think if there was anything I could do, that would be awesome for you guys to make the most money I could make, I would create a test or a drug that allowed people to become self-aware, right? So that's awkward, you know.
Today I want to talk about the four letters, right? INFJ. And how it's no longer enough just to call yourself an INFJ.
I think everybody lies to themselves. And I think all of you want certain things to be happening with you. You want yourself to be something. And I think what you need to do more of, and if I can give you, clearly I'm coming out the gate with my best piece of advice. I really do think, you have to audit who you actually are. I think that America as a society has done a really good job in selling us how to fix the things that we naturally aren't. And there's a lot of money being made on us forming into something we can't be. And I, either through massive ego and bravado, complete ignorance, I don't know what it was early on in my life, maybe the outrageous level of self-esteem that my mom instilled in me, I was able to quickly, very, very early on.
Right? Like just calling yourself INFJ is essentially showing up. It's like, I'm just gonna show up to work, not really cultivate my ability within this career field or at the job. I'm not going to contribute beyond my my basic skills, right? I'm just going to show up, do the job, go home and get paid, right?
You know, emotional intelligence isn't one thing like an IQ score. Mm-hmm. It's a profile or a range of, are you self-aware? Are you empathic? You can be highly empathic and self-aware, not very good at managing your feelings.
Right.
So we each have a profile of our strong points and our weak points and so on. And there are basically three domains of ability. There's cognitive ability, or
right.
IQ. There's technical expertise, what you've learned that helps you at your job, like a computer program or something like that. And then there's the emotional intelligence range. And it turns out that across all companies and for jobs of all kinds, in terms of what distinguishes star performers from average, emotional intelligence is twice as important as IQ plus technical skill combined. Twice as important. The higher, as you said, the higher you go in the organization, the more it matters.
Right.
For top executive positions, about 85% of what distinguishes the best from the average. IQ and technical skill are entry-level abilities.
Right.
They're threshold abilities. You need enough to do the job.
If you don't have them, forget it.
Yeah,
you
you wash out.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you'll be good at it. What determines whether you'll be really excellent are these other abilities.
That's what basically just saying I'm an INFJ is. Doesn't matter how much research you've done, just saying I'm an INFJ is not enough. So what do I mean by that?
And so I came here when I was 3 and we were super poor. I lived in a studio apartment. I know what it tastes like to walk 5 miles to Kmart, buy toilet paper, come home, and then sit there for an hour and split the toilet paper to get efficiency. That's a huge advantage for me, right? Like the fact that I've been working 19 hours a day, every day for the last 20 years is easy for me. It's the only gear I knew, right? I was poor. I sucked shit at school. It was the only gear I had, right? So like I sit here with enormous disrespect and with enormous assumptions around all of you that you're just too soft to beat me, right? That I think that you've had it better and that alone doesn't allow you to beat me.
It means that if you have introverted intuition, you got to apply it. Not only do you have to apply it, you have to practice. You have to cultivate it. You have to groom it. It doesn't come through osmosis. And how do you groom introverted intuition? You have to expose yourself. Because again, introverted intuition is patterns. How do you seek patterns? How do you find patterns? Is through observation, okay? I know I'm repeating myself, but for those who are just watching, producer, clip 1, go.
We spend our lives on the internet. We're no longer really interacting with people in the real world. You go home, you chat on Facebook. Probably most of your friends, you chat with them more on Facebook than in person. Or on WhatsApp more than in person. Relationships now. Guys would rather, they like the relationship where they text more so than in person. I have friends like that. They'd rather be further away, and they keep going for girls where it's like long distance just so they can get the high off the text back and forth. And what happens, there's these weird, awkward interactions now where you're acting in the real world as if you're online. And it's super weird, and it communicates such low value, and it just kills a lot of opportunities. I showed, footage of, say, me interacting with all these people, and I'm like, here's the difference. And more guys couldn't see the difference. They would need a logical explanation, but they couldn't feel the difference. That's the key to social intelligence. It's massive social references and pattern recognition. You go out and you interact with thousands upon thousands of people. You're gathering more social experiences than most people would in their entire fucking lives. And then you start getting a feel for what's appropriate and when, and that's a fucking skill set that more and more people are lacking.
So again, it's just seeking patterns, but in order to find these patterns, you have to expose yourself, okay? If you have extroverted feeling, something that I have talked about, and I will put out a video on it, it's not something that you can teach others. It's something that's from within, something that's from within, and that you have to understand perspective. And you have to determine whether or not you want to express your FE in order to create social stability. Okay? But not everyone is willing to do it. Everyone has it. Everyone understands what FE, everyone understands what being kind and courteous is. But there are many a-holes in this world. And for whatever reason that they just find that they don't, relate to life's causes, they go about and see life, through a crappy lens. And so they treat people as they see fit. Okay? They know that you need to be nice, you need to be courteous, okay? But they just choose not to. So it's not necessarily about helping someone develop or teaching that, because everyone knows it. Everyone knows that if you want something, from someone else, you have to ask nicely and say please. Right? I mean, if someone does something to you that you find harmful, you know that that's improper, that's wrong, that's not nice. So therefore, you know the differences between right and wrong innately. Okay? Instinctively, no one needs to tell you. And introverted thinking, all right? Some people have logic, some people don't. Some people apply their logic in the areas of sciences, hard sciences. Some people apply their logic in the areas of social sciences. Some people are more hard-driven. Some people are more soft-driven, okay? And it's the same thing with your extroverted sensing, okay? Which is your observation, your understanding of the nuances and just the atmosphere, right? Just the sort of cliff notes that you cannot see, but you can understand, you can see. Okay? Some people don't have it. Okay? Some people do. Matter of fact, producer, clip number 2. Go.
This was a very important experience for me because, well, there's an expression in Japanese which is kuki yomanai. They shorten it to KY, and it means someone who is unable to read the atmosphere, or someone who's unable to read the air, meaning to pick up the communication that's in the air. And here we could see that he clearly could read the air, and I was clearly KY.
Okay, so how do you now develop, this extroverted sensing? Okay, clip number 3, go.
But I also saw that with a little bit of assistance and direction, that I also could become better at picking up those signals that were in the air.
So again, if you want to develop a nimble, agile social intelligence that can adapt to any situation that might arise dynamically, there is simply no way around it. You're going to have to get out there, get out in the field, and have as many unique interactions under your belt as humanly possible.
You see what I'm saying to you? So it's basically, again, you having to expose yourself, see what's going on, see what's happening. So for example, for me, as it pertains to me not knowing where I am, a lot of the times I may not have a good sense of direction. Although I may understand energies from a wider lens, but from an immediate lens, I may be driving and next thing you know, instead of being on the right lane, I'm on the left lane, right? And like my direction is off, right? Where my wife is like, what are you doing? Get on the right lane. Or like I've said before, I lose stuff all the time. I may have something, in my hand, or I may have something in my pocket with my Bluetooth, my Bluetooth headphones on, and I'm looking for my phone, and it's in my pocket. I'm like, man, I came in the house, I can't find it. Where is it? Yeah, it's on me. So yeah, but again, we have this thing, and I understand it, of community, right? Of relating. So if you come to someone that says, hey, I do this, I do that. I'm very forgetful. I leave the keys, in the house. And then someone says, hey, you know what? Guess what? I'm the same way. Like, just attention to detail. Like I get it. However, having low SC can be a major threat to you and to yourself, particularly and depending on what you are involved in. Okay?
Yeah, Blair, I'm watching it very, very, very. Listen, I watch anything people are doing. The answer is yes, I watch that, just like I watch absolutely everything. The only thing I do is trade people's attention and behavior. That's what I do for a living. The reason I'm right so often is the only thing I spend time consuming is you. That's it. I don't watch shows. I don't watch anything. I don't consume anybody's content. All I do is read your comments on my stuff and other things that I know are popping in culture. My religion is the attention and consumption and reaction and process that people go through when they interact with things.
Wow.
So you see what I'm saying to you? So at a point in time, do you just sit here and say, oh, well, I relate, and don't do the things necessary in order to, right, rectify these deficiencies? Okay? Not knowing where you put things is a deficiency. It's not something to be proud of. But at the same time, you need to now be able to develop these things. Okay? And how do you develop them? Taking notes, assessing, see where you are falling, and annotating these things, going back home, and the next thing you know, the more and more, okay, you start to engage and to assess and to realize your shortcomings, the more and more you'll be able to pick the things up. Yeah, you may get into these loops, but eventually it'll sort of, iron itself out. Okay, all the wrinkles will iron itself out, and it'll just become like second nature. But again, it's not enough just to say I'm an INFJ, because so many folks online, and that's what one thing pisses me off. Like, I'm gonna seriously say it right now. Okay, I don't want to blow up on forums, because again, you have to have SC and know where you are, and know not to blow up the spot. So you have to play kind and play nice. Okay, unfortunately, but I went in there and I was like, why isn't that INFJs are not talking about this and talking about that? Or matter of fact, let's give you an example of what I mean. Okay, produce a clip for.
I get an email, come to our internet conference. So I think it's internet marketing. What it was internet marketing. Rip off!
Bless you.
So I get there, I'll never forget it. I'm like, what the fuck where am I? I'm like, is this like the fucking red light district? Like, I was freaked. Because I didn't even know it existed. And I looked around the room and like what I saw was people that buy lottery tickets. right? And so I went up to the guy and I was like, and I had the check, I'll never forget it. And I was like, I don't want to speak. And he was like super, like, it was interesting. I caught the guy at the right time too. He goes, what do you mean? Like, we talked, like at the AV station before I was supposed to go on. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do what that guy just did. I'm like, do you understand that if I take the stage right now, I'm gonna spend an hour shitting on everybody who just spoke and breaking this whole thing? And I don't wanna be disrespectful to you. I appreciate you flying me out here. You paid me a lot of money. I wanna give you back the money because I'm not gonna speak. I need to leave. And the guy goes, do it. I was like, dude, I'm serious. And he's like, do it. And I went up there and fucking destroyed the 4 speakers before. I basically said they were full of shit. Like, why would you buy a $1,000 DVD? There's this new thing called the internet. It's 2007. I'm like, this Twitter thing's gonna be big. YouTube's real. People, I mean, back to like the thing you saw, that was 11. This was at 7. Wow. Same shit. Being a con artist or full of shit is really good in the short term. The reason I leave money on the table is because I want a statue.
Legacy over currency.
100%.
Okay? So, and when I went online, I was like, I don't understand why more INFJs aren't really talking about this. I mean, again, because we talk about how we want to help the world and this, that, and the third, what have you. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's up? Like, why? Like, I've been in the game for like 4 or 5 years in this MBTI thing, and I don't see it. What's happening? Like, there should be more self-identified Jordan Peterson types or Sam Vaknin. Okay? There are these types, whether they're INFJ or not, but they don't self-identify and they're not part of the community. So they didn't rise from the MBTI community and rise up to like stardom, right? They just came from who they are, and most of them don't even believe in MBTI. They believe in the big 5. But regardless, like, where are these people? What's going on? Why? And the first 2 responses, oh, I'm just in it just to in it. I don't have the time and patience for that. Such and such. Another one says, oh, the world is going to crap. It's, there's no, use in it. And I'm like, I had to just play nice and say, yeah, I get it. If I had your outlook, I was being sarcastic. If I had your outlook, I probably, would have been in a better place, But I don't have that outlook. I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? And it just pisses me off, just the responses. And then that's when I know it's not just enough just to call yourself INFJ. If you're not doing shit, if you're not sharpening your senses, if you're just hanging out and all you do is dwell, okay, there's nothing wrong with dwelling. So don't even come that with me, okay? Don't even come with that with me. But at the end of the day, nobody cares about your feelings. And then I have kids, and I'm being passionate right now, okay? Okay? But it's not about me, though. I have kids. Imagine if I spent my whole entire life just dwelling and being in the TI loop and not really, focusing in on what I need to do and being on my purpose and getting these experiences so that I can provide this to my kids and figure out, okay, hey, my daughter, she's like this, so therefore I'm going to have to now cultivate her in this direction, give her the opportunity to find her pathway, but still help her out, right? And say, you know what? I think I know, where you're going, but here's something that here's a direction. If you want to take it, you're not, but at least I'm giving you something, okay? And not be a hermit, not be hanging out and not really want to, like I have my wife was an ESTP. Imagine now if I just stayed home and not wanted to do anything. Like the least I can do is just say, hey, you know what? Let's go out. Let's go for a drive. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying to you? At least that's my contribution to them. But if you sit and you watch and you listen to the people on YouTube and in the forums, you will get nowhere in life. Nowhere in life. So, anyway, I'm back to Johnny Fontana. I'm just saying, it's not enough just to be INFJ because no one cares about your feelings at the end of the day. No one really cares. What they want is results. You can't go through life saying you're an INFJ, but then you're not putting any effort in backing up that big mouth of yours. And I'm not talking to my subscribers. You know who I'm talking to.
But I just want to remind everybody that I didn't make a video to the world about anything about business until I was 35 years old. After I worked every single day from the time I was 22 and in reality 14. And then I started talking. There's a whole lot of talking going on. How about more action? How about more execution? How about more paying prices for what your mouth is saying? That is what I hope you do. Thank you.
Johnny Fontana, real world and of Scorpio. We out.